The reason you aren't where you want to be has nothing to do with your effort. It's because you are a passenger in a mind you claim to own. Right now, your thoughts are a script written by your insecurities, and you're just the actor following the lines. The invisible script. Most people think they are the architect of their choices. They aren't. They are the victims of a biological feedback loop that triggers before they even wake up. You think you're choosing to procrastinate, but your brain has already negotiated a surrender based on a thought you didn't even notice you had. This isn't about staying positive. Positive thinking is a thin coat of paint on a rotting fence. We are talking about the mechanics of the internal monologue, the quiet, relentless voice that determines whether you are a king or a casualty. If you cannot intervene at the level of the thought, you will forever be a slave to the result. The architect's collapse. Meet Elias. Elias is 32, talented and effectively paralyzed. He has 3 unfinished business plans in a desk drawer and a gym membership he hasn't used in 4 months. To his friends, he looks busy. To himself, he is a fraud. The problem isn't that Elias lacks discipline. The problem is a specific, recurring thought that occurs at 6:15 a.m. When the alarm goes off, Elias doesn't think, "I'm lazy." He thinks, "I need to be at my best to do this properly, and I didn't sleep well enough to be at my best." It sounds logical. It sounds like high standards. In reality, it is a sophisticated defense mechanism designed to keep Elias safe from the possibility of failure. By negotiating with the thought, Elias has already lost. The moment you argue with a thought that serves your comfort, the comfort has already won. The paradox of the observer. We operate under the delusion that we are our thoughts. We say, "I am tired," or "I am anxious." This is a fundamental linguistic and psychological error. You are not the thought. You are the space in which the thought occurs. Imagine your mind is a theater. Most people are on stage, sweating under the lights, desperately trying to play every character at once. The power of thought control begins when you move from the stage to the back row of the audience. When Elias feels the urge to quit, he's been taught to fight it, but fighting a thought gives it energy. Instead, the shift happens when he learns to label it. Not "I am tired," but "I am experiencing a thought that I am tired." It sounds like a small distinction. It is actually the difference between being a prisoner and being the warden. The rule of 3 seconds. The brain is an optimization machine. It wants to find the path of least resistance to keep you alive and fed. Growth, however, requires the path of most resistance. There is a 3-second window between a thought appearing and your body reacting to it. In those 3 seconds, you are a god. You have the power to veto the impulse. Elias started practicing the veto method. When the thought, "I'll do it tomorrow," surfaced, he didn't try to find motivation. He simply observed the thought as a biological glitch, a stray spark from an old engine, and moved his body before the brain could finish the sentence. The discomfort you feel when you go against a thought isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's the sensation of your old identity dying. The cognitive resistance. 3 weeks into this practice, Elias hit the wall. This is where most motivated people fail. His brain changed tactics. It stopped using simple excuses and started using the truth. His mind began to whisper, "You're just white-knuckling this. You haven't actually changed. You're just pretending." This is the internal conflict. Your mind will use your own intelligence against you. It will cite your past failures as evidence for your future. Elias felt like a hypocrite. He was going to the gym, he was writing the plans, but he felt fake. The trap here is waiting to feel like the person you want to be before acting like them. You do not think your way into a new way of acting. You act your way into a new way of thinking. The fake feeling is actually the friction of a new identity being forged. If it doesn't feel wrong, it isn't new. The identity pivot. The breakthrough didn't happen when Elias achieved a goal. It happened when he stopped caring about the goals entirely and started caring about the internal governance. he realized that his thoughts were like weather. You don't get angry at a rainstorm, you just put on a jacket. Elias stopped identifying as a businessman who struggles with discipline and started identifying as the man who does not negotiate with his impulses. He began to treat his mind like a separate entity, a toddler that needed boundaries. When the toddler screamed for sugar or distraction, Elias, the observer, simply watched the tantrum without joining in. This is the transformation, when you realize that your thoughts have no power to move your limbs unless you give them permission. The mechanics of mastery. To control your thoughts, you must stop feeding the ones that serve your weakness. Here is the protocol. The audit. For the next 24 hours, do not try to change anything. Simply count how many times your mind tells you no, later, or why bother. The label. When a limiting thought arises, use the phrase, "I am having the thought that." This creates the necessary distance. The selective neglect. You do not need to delete bad thoughts. You just need to stop responding to them. A thought with no response is a fire with no oxygen. It will eventually go out. The identity statement. Replace "I want to be disciplined" with "I am someone who governs my mind." One is a wish, the other is a mandate. The silent mandate. The world is designed to hijack your attention and dictate your thoughts. If you do not choose the contents of your mind, someone else, an advertiser, a politician, or a ghost from your childhood, will choose them for you. You have spent years being a spectator of your own life, watching your potential drift away on a tide of unexamined impulses. That ends now. Not because you feel pumped up, but because you have realized that your thoughts are not commands, they are merely suggestions, and you are finally in a position to decline. Look at the last hour of your life. Did you move your mind, or did your mind move you? Would you like me to develop a 30-day mind governance worksheet to help you track and label these internal scripts?